Hello guys, welcome back to Sweet and Sour Soccer. I am finally here. I am no longer in England. For those who don't know, or maybe you do, I do by nature live abroad. I am in Southeast Asia. Maybe we can do a video on that in the future. I'm hoping there's actually quite a few Wolves fans out here, which people don't realise. I've got a jumper here that's got the Wolves badge on there from a random village here, like 100 of miles away, like in the middle of a just in the middle of a jungle. Like, Wolves are massive now. But this video isn't about Wolves. Obviously, I haven't been able to do much content on what's been happening in the last week. Obviously, you did, Scott. Yeah. One of the biggest football stories for years and years. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this galvanise people of all fans.
No, I mean, it lasted about as long as my hangovers do these days, to be honest with you, for those 48 hours. And, you know, we're obviously going to, what we're going to cover today, there is a bit more of an aftermath of it, as we've seen on Friday, Friday, when this will come out. We saw the Arsenal protest even continuing after the Super League. So I think there's probably going to be a United one as well this weekend as we're recording this on a Sunday. So, you know, one of those that, you know, there's still a lot of aftermath from it. And as you guys can probably see from the ticker at the bottom, we're going to do the worst owners, FSG, Kroenke, Glazers, and Perez, who were obviously, they're all involved in this Super League debate. We accept that Perez isn't technically an owner just because the Real Madrid setup works a bit different from the English setup. But essentially, he's an owner. He's still kind of dictates the same way an owner would. So
he dictates everything. That's one of the points I want to come on to later. You know, I'll come on to it later. One thing I do want to say is that we're doing this a little bit differently, where usually we rank the best one last. We're actually going to do it different, where, let's be honest, all of these owners are, you know, just not good for football. Let me make that clear. Disclaimer. I'm not saying any of these owners are good. So Liverpool fans, Arsenal fans, please don't jump on my back. They've all got reasons to be hated. But obviously, some of them have done more for their clubs than others. So we're going to go for the best one first and the worst one last. I'll kick it off. So far as I know, the only English owner to come out and do a full apology video. It's definitely scripted. It looks as fake as it can be. And what made me laugh in there, and obviously people know I'm talking about FSG now and John W. Henry, he said in there, we listened to the fans, so we pulled out. No, John, you didn't listen to the fans, because if you did listen to the fans, you would have put it up to a vote, and you wouldn't have gone in anyway, you fucking moron.
The best part of that best part about that apology video was did you see the yellow daffodil in the background that he had?
Mate.
And I looked into I saw someone put out that the research what that daffodil symbolizes, and it symbolized remorse, and that it was just such an American touch to it. But
just a subliminal messaging. It's just like,
I don't know whether to go too harsh on him for that, because at least he tried something. I didn't expect it to go down well with Liverpool fans, and I don't really blame them for thinking, you know, I don't really forgive you for it. I've actually matched you. I've gone for him the fourth worst as well. My main reason for being so is I don't think he's perhaps as terrible as the rest in terms of, I kind of feel with the Super League, he might have just got it really wrong. I think the Americans just completely misjudge how Europeans work. I mean, and the example I'll give is probably the Super Bowl. I'm not a massive American football fan. I couldn't really tell you who was the two teams in last Super Bowl, but I could tell you about the halftime show with The Weeknd and his performance. And that's probably the only highlight I saw of it. And, you know, they're like this camaraderie. They're like this big, like, you know, this big super thing, this big entertainment spectacle. And it is an issue, though, because I think when you're taking over in an English club, you have to be aware of what what the fans you're buying into actually want, and we don't like that. I mean, I'm sure if the Weekend performed at one of the English grounds, I think you'd still probably have about 20% of the fans downstairs getting a pint, not watching it, and probably in the concourse doing chants, because that's what we love. Like, and I think the American owners, although on one hand I'm like, I get that they don't quite understand the culture, but if you were coming in and you were buying a club, you've got to understand the culture. So it's not really I forgive him for it, but it's almost one of them where I'm a bit like, I can kind of understand why he might have thought this was a good idea, but at the same time,
he's improved Liverpool's value by almost tenfold what he's done to the valuation of that club. He's brought them a Champions League. I say him, obviously Klopp has done so much. But, credit where it's due, he's obviously listened to the Klopp in terms of the players he wants. He's okayed a £70+ million transfer for a defender in Van Dijk. He's done a lot for the main Liverpool stand. And they also want to, I think it's already confirmed that they're going to increase the Anfield Road end. I think that's the end that the away fans sit in, where we went for like FA Cup games a few years ago. He's the lesser of two evils. He's Americanized. Maybe you put it down to a lack of experience. The next one is one I think we're going to disagree on potentially. Who have you gone for the second best? Because I think we know who's going to be the worst. Maybe.
I don't know on this, because I've actually
Kroenke or the Glazers for the second best.
See, I think our order is going to be quite messed up here. So I'm just going to go third. So this is like the second best, but obviously we're placing them third because of the second best. Just to, I'm going to put the Glazers there.
See, I thought we would. Yeah, I thought I've gone the other way. I've gone Kroenke second.
Wow. Okay. So like Kroenke's your third in this video. Let's just.
So the best of the worst is FSG for me because of what he's done for Liverpool.
Yeah.
I think Kroenke's second, and I'll go into third and fourth. I think people can guess why. Do you want to know my reasons why? And this is there's not a lot to separate them. And I put Woodward in a little bit with the Glazers. The reason why I've put Kroenke second, and don't get me wrong, if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd hate him as well, because he's taken a club from fighting for Premier Leagues and all that, and look where they are now. But Kroenke doesn't pretend to give a damn about Arsenal, which I think the Glazers do. Kroenke never goes to the games. He never knows the Arsenal scores. He doesn't go to FA Cup finals. Kroenke basically sees Arsenal for what they are. He's a loan for him to help with his US ventures. Now, don't get me wrong, he's still a parasite for English football. But the Glazers pretended that they were good, and they're taking 100 million out a year in dividends and things like this. And Ed Woodward, he's just a rat, a worm, just on the,
At least he's gone now.
Well, he's gone, and he said, it was my dream to win a Premier League with them. Well, maybe it was, but, my dream was to shag Jennifer Aniston. It's not going to happen, and I'm not going to stalk her to try and do it. Go about it the right way. He's just, I don't know. I've gone for Kroenke second just because they're not in as much debt as United.
Yeah.
And I think just because he doesn't pretend to be anything he's not. He's like, I don't care about Arsenal, but, I'm not saying it's good. Let me get this right. They're all parasites, but at least he doesn't pretend to be something he's not.
I'm going to leave Kroenke for a bit, and I'm just going to move straight onto our Glazers, and you'll probably see why later on in the video. So Glazers would be third, so I guess the second best. I mean, it's one of them, isn't it? I mean, United fans want them out. I don't think they're giving the investment that United fans would want. One thing that they did do, which a lot of other owners didn't do. I mean, you had Kroenke obviously furloughed a lot of staff. Liverpool tried to furlough staff until they got the backlash of it. Although I'm not 100% sure what happened with the furloughing of staff, one thing they did do was they did contribute quite a lot of money to the NHS over this pandemic. So, although they might not do the best for the club, and they've clearly got a bit of a charitable part about them, investing in the NHS as well. I guess, giving money in this pandemic to them, it shows a bit of care to that local community, even if it's not in the way that they want. The worst thing, as you said, for me about the Glazers is the fact that they've been building up the debt, haven't they? And almost to benefit them as well, because I feel like, they're... It's one of them, 60 million a year. That's the note I've got. 60 million a year they're paying interest payments the club do now is one of the facts I found out.
Interest? Just interest?
Yeah. And they weren't a debt-ridden club before the takeover. So that's one thing that they have done. They've just piled on the debt. They've also increased the ticket prices by quite a bit. I think FSG have done similar, though. And Kroenke... we'll move on to that. He's probably one of the worst.
The thing I will defend United about is I think they've had a ticket price freeze for the last 2 seasons, maybe 3. I think the last 2 seasons, definitely, they have had a season ticket price freezing. Now, obviously, it's still sky high, so freezing it when it's that high is not good. But, see, I'm going to drop it now because... Kroenke, you're probably going to bring up later about the 55 staff that they tried to furlough and, sacking Gunnosaurus. I don't even think Kroenke knows who that guy is. Do you think Kroenke knows who Gunnosaurus is? Do you think Stan Kroenke is getting involved in laying 55 staff off at one of his many businesses in anywhere in the world? That probably doesn't even reach his debt. This man has, land bigger than Birmingham in the US. He's got so many things to worry about than a dinosaur mascot.
I think Arsenal in particular, I think it's Josh Kroenke, isn't it, that kind of takes more charge, which, of course, for those that don't know, is his son.
Yeah, more so. But do you think he still has a lot of involvement? I don't think he does.
Probably not. No, I mean, let's move on to, my second worst then. So this is obviously... second place.
If you haven't put Kroenke here, I swear. If you put Kroenke as the worst guy, you haven't.
I've put Kroenke as the worst. Florentino Perez for me.
What's this affiliation you've got with Arsenal?
No. I'm criticising the owners here, but
for the record,
Perez, let me explain why I put.
You've
Perez
got Kroenke as a worse owner, a worse human being than Florentino Perez.
We hate him. Everyone in football hates him. But the Madrid fans...
You're an idiot. People are just going to turn off now.
The Madrid fans don't actually mind him that much. I was looking around for Madrid's opinion on him. Madrid fans are pretty happy with him.
But we're not Madrid fans. This is our opinions, our ratings.
But the thing is, no one's there protesting against Perez as a Madrid fan, wanting them out. So, that goes into my ratings because, you can't call him the worst owner when the club that he provides for. So the club that he essentially provides for, their set of fans don't mind him.
I get that, but they are 800. I think Barcelona are $1.05 billion in debt. Madrid are only 800 million. He said on that interview, for some reason, he did an interview at 11:30 at night on Wednesday or Thursday when the Super League first came out, and he was like, there won't be a Real Madrid in 3 or 4 years if we don't get this Super League up and running. It's just scaremongering tactics. So, of course, the Real Madrid fans are going to like him because they're thinking, oh my God, if we don't do this, we've got no club. Of course, they're still going to have a club. Come on, it's Real Madrid. Someone's going to buy him out.
You've got to remember, I've put him second here. I'm not in any way trying to defend him whatsoever. 800 million in debt, as you said. Ronaldo has actually said himself he was one of the main reasons that he left Madrid. Ronaldo has said...
Great owner, though.
That's another thing. You've also got to consider the fact he was responsible for this Super League and has heavily backed it. So I am not saying this guy is a good guy, but I hope that once I've put my case for Kroenke, and the reasons why I think he's more evil of an owner, not just for Arsenal, but other clubs he manages, he's owned in general, you'll see why I've said it. The reason...
If we were going to say I think we're both right in a way. If we were going to say, for the owners of their club, if you've only got that club's interest at heart, maybe you could say Perez is better than Kroenke. I mean, we are splitting hairs. They're all scumbags in the world of football.
Course. Yeah.
I can understand your argument there, but there's just something within me. I just cannot
despise him.
Perez anything above an earthworm. He's just a rat. But I do get your point. So obviously, I've got Perez last. You've got Kroenke last. What's your reasonings for Kroenke last?
Well, I mean, the main reason, the more I looked into this bloke, the more I thought you're just an absolutely terrible person. Owns Arsenal. He obviously also owns the LA Rams. He also owns the Colorado Rapids. He's also hated and despised by the Rams. The Rams. The main reason for this was he actually moved their club. He essentially did an MK Dons on Wimbledon. He essentially moved their club, took their club away from the fans and put it somewhere else. And I don't know, there's just something about that for me that I just think...
But that's not uncommon in the US, whether it's NBA or hockey or NFL. That's not uncommon. It's really not that uncommon, I don't think. I might be wrong, but I don't think it's uncommon because they are franchises out there. And don't forget, in America, just because you live in the same state as a club, their states are like 4-5 hours wide to drive. Do you know what I mean? So you still got to drive 4 hours.
Well, he moved it from Missouri to LA, which I'll be honest, I'm not great with my geography in America, but you'd imagine, as you say, that's probably pretty massive, even if they are in the same state. I'm guessing LA, much more attractive venture, isn't it, than Missouri, you'd think.
He did get them to the Super Bowl, though, a couple of years ago. They're not
it's a hard one, isn't it? Like, I imagine NK Dons fans, for example, they probably don't mind their owners. Was Wimbledon supporters are probably obviously hate what those owners at the time did. So it's a hard one, isn't it? I just really didn't like that. Maybe it is more common in the US, but as soon as I saw that, I just thought, if that's something you can do, I mean, at the Arsenal protest that happened on Friday, it'll be last Friday for those that are watching it now. There was a banner, wasn't there, that summed it up perfectly. And it was something along the lines of, when you moved us from Highbury, we moved, there was other elements of the banner. But Arsenal fans have just been put through so much by this guy. He moved their club. He gave them a stand which he said would put them onto the next level and just hasn't at all. Obviously, there's the case of furlough as well. And another thing that's been argued is this bloke basically uses Arsenal, takes all the money out of Arsenal and puts that into his other business ventures. So, in terms of, he's much more into his NFL venture than he is Arsenal. So, it has been said before that he takes the profits from Arsenal and uses that to put more into his NFL team. And there has been a lack of investment in Arsenal. It's been terribly run over the last few years. I accept your argument of he's probably not at the front of it, but at the end of the day, he's still the main guy. And even if you've set up the wrong team around you, even if you've got the wrong people dealing with these things, you're still ultimately responsible at the end of the day. So that's why I've put him as the worst for me. I mean, I
do get it. I think, do you know what? Arsenal fans won't disagree with you. Arsenal fans probably will say, do you know what? Yes, Perez, for what he's done in trying to destroy European football, he's a dick. But at least he's looking after his club, whereas Kroenke isn't. Mate, I've been looking into some of the stuff that Perez does. Do you know that he sacks managers if they don't bench a player that he wants benched? This is just the president. This is like the owner. He sacked Vincent Del Bosque because he wouldn't bench certain players. What's he got to do with that? Luis Figo came out and said that it wasn't uncommon that Perez, I forget who the manager was at the time, but he forced the manager to bench Luis Figo for a couple of months for seemingly no reason. He's one of the best players in the world.
The Luis Figo one's an interesting one because that's the whole reason he got in, wasn't it? he promised the fans that he would bring Luis Figo from Barcelona to Madrid. Figo thought there was no chance that was happening, according to him, and signed a pre-contract deal that if Perez got elected, that he would move to Madrid. I mean, why you would do that anyway if you had no intentions of going, I don't know. I don't know how much I believe Figo for that. But that was essentially how he got in, because all the Real Madrid fans were like, oh, we're going to steal one of Barca's best players here. But yeah.
And then you had the famous pig head that got thrown on the pitch. I think it was near the corner flag. I mean, this is a bit of a weird video anyway, because we are ranking. It's like ranking 4 turds, which is smelliest. You don't really want to do it because you don't want to smell shit. Do you know what I mean? Don't want to sit there smelling shit. But we've got to do it. So, I mean, this video is going to come out on Thursday. Well, if you're watching this today, we recorded this on Sunday. Well, it's coming out now. We recorded it on Sunday, like an hour before the Wolves game. So hopefully we can say we beat Burnley 5-0. But, you know, I'm sure I'm sure the European Super League has maybe died down a little bit by then. But guys, I mean, you know, do let us know. It is a bit of an odd video. We do like to do things a little bit out of the box. We don't do things that everyone else does. We like to mix and match it. Let us know. I mean, if you're an Arsenal fan, do you agree with Scott that he is the worst owner for you? For me, I think Arsenal fans are quite understanding. I know they get a bad rap because of AFTV and, you know, this kind of thing, but they are understanding, and they've had to be. So they'll understand why I've put Perez as the worst from a neutral point of view. I don't think many people will argue with FSG. We've both put them top, which I think, you know, doubled, trebled, quadrupled the value of the club, more Champions League, Premier League. The Glazers, maybe Man U fans will think they're the worst.
They might be fuming at me putting them as low as, like, I guess the second worst. But, you know, with them, I just kind of feel that, like, it's more the fact that they've just done terrible, haven't they, since the last Fergie, essentially. And I don't know how much of that's just been entirely their fault. As you say, I think Woodward should take a lot of the wrath for that as well. They've still put money into the club, probably not as much as United fans want, but a lot of people would say that United fans are lucky for getting that much money. So it's an hard one, isn't it, when you're not actually like United fans. I mean, they have an 80,000 stadium. You probably expect them to probably get a bit more of an investment. But yeah, as always, guys, let us know. And we keep meaning to do this at the start of our videos, but always forget. Hit that like and subscribe button.
Oh yeah, if you have stayed for the whole 25 minutes, do hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, if you've stayed this long and you haven't subscribed, you've obviously enjoyed this video. So yeah, there's no reason not to do it now.
This is why we don't grow as a channel, because we don't do what people do. We don't tell people to subscribe. We don't tell them to like it. Yeah, we just dive straight into the content. But listen, guys, if you have watched the whole video, thanks. And, you know, do let us know in the comments, as always, what you think. And if you are a fan of one of these 4 clubs, have we got it spot on or not? Scott, I'm going to predict, as a Mystic Meg, we're going to win 2-1 in an hour's time when we kick off. Do you want to do a...
I'm going to go the opposite, 2-1 Burnley, and I'm going to be fuming.
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, on that note, guys, we'll see you later. Take care.
See you later, guys.